Hi kids, tonight I will read a fairy tale from the Indonesian book Dongeng Anak Hebat, kumpulan kisah pembangkit motivasi. Hansel and Gretel. Once upon a time, there lived a poor woodcutter and his wife, who lived not far from the forest with their children. Their son is named Hansel, and their daughter is named Gretel. Both are sweet and kind. One day, the woodcutter became very poor. Their supply of bread was running low, while only a little money left to support his family. That night, the woodcutter complained beside his wife. "What will happen if I can no longer support our family?"
"Oh, take it easy,"
said his evil wife.
"Tomorrow we'll have Hansel and Gretel play in the forest and leave them with a big loaf of bread. Then we go to work and leave them. They definitely won't be able to return home."
"But I won't be able to do that," shouted the woodcutter.
"Alright, then the four of us will starve to death,"
replied his evil wife. She made her husband nervous until he finally accepted her terrible proposal. Luckily, their two children, who didn't sleep because they were hungry, heard everything. While their parents were sleeping, Hansel sneaked outside. He saw a small white stone on the ground. The stones glittered like coins in the moonlight. He put the stones in his pocket. With a calm heart, he went back to sleep. "Don't worry, my sister," whispered Hansel to Gretel. "We can definitely get out of the forest." Early in the morning, the evil woman woke her children to go find wood. The whole family started walking into the forest. Hansel often looked back as if he was looking at a white cat on the roof of the house. He quietly dropped the small stone one by one. When they reached the forest, Hansel and Gretel sat in the corner of a small bonfire, waiting for their parents. They fell asleep to the sound of their father's axe hitting. When night fell, the children woke up and realized that the sound of the axe that had calmed them down had actually come from a dead tree branch which had hit a tree in the wind. They really got lost.
"How are we now?"
Gretel cries. "Wait until there's moonlight," shouted Hansel. "You will see it, my sister." When the moonlight shone, Hansel took his sister in his arm. He led her, following the small white stone that gleamed in the darkness, all the way to their house. The father was so happy to see them back. He was very sorry to have left his children in the forest. He was relieved to see them safe. Time passed. The bread supply was running low again. The woodcutter's wife, who was very evil, made her husband restless again. They decided to leave their children in the forest again. However, that day, the woodcutter's wife locked the door of the house. So Hansel, who was listening to everything again with his sister, could not go out to collect small white stones. The next day, As they walked into the forest, Hansel tore the bread he had gotten that morning into crumbs. He dropped breadcrumbs instead of small stones. When they reached the forest, the children sat back around the small fire and fell asleep peacefully. When they woke up in the dark of night, Hansel assured Gretel that they will find their way back home easily, thanks to the crumbs he dropped. When the moonlight shone, they circled in all directions, opened their eyes wide. Unfortunately, they didn't find the breadcrumbs because the birds had eaten them. The two children then walked in different directions, but they were really lost. They were tired, so they fell asleep under a tree. They had spent 2 days wandering in the wood, desperately searching for their way home. On the morning of the third day, they heard a little white bird singing. Her singing was so beautiful that when they listened to it, their hearts were at peace. When the bird flies, they follow her. They followed the bird to a beautiful field. There is a unique house there. A house like in fairy tales. Everything is made of cookies. The wall made of peanut sugar cake. The roof is of sponge cake. And the windows are of candy. When they approached it, they saw the door was of peanut butter. The shutters were almond cake. And chocolate was flowing from the drains. Everything's eatable. The hungry children ran to the house.
I will eat a small piece of the roof,
shouted Hansel, lifting a tail made of sponge cake.
And you, Gretel, I suggest you to take a piece of this delicious little window.
The two children were having fun and eating deliciously, when suddenly a loud sound heard.
What's that?
Ah, just the wind, answered the children without stopping to eat. Suddenly, the doors opened and a very old woman came out.
Kids, what are you doing alone in this forest? Come in. I will provide food, take care and bathe you.
The old woman gave them delicious pancakes and honey, and put them to sleep on a beautiful little white bed. The children felt like they were in heaven. However, the old woman was actually a terrifying witch. Early in the morning, she woke Hansel up and put him in a cage. Then she woke Gretel up and told her to prepare food for her brother.
From now on, you cook good food for him, because I want him to get fat before I eat him.
Every morning, the witch, who couldn't see anything, asked Hansel to stick his finger between the bars of the cage to see if he was fat enough. Hansel always held out a small bone instead of his finger to the witch.
Oh my gosh!
The witch was grumpy with scary eyes.
He has eaten pies, meats, sandwiches, stuffed vegetables, but he's not getting fat.
After almost a month, the old witch lost her temper and decided to eat Hansel the next day. In the morning, she asked Gretel to prepare the dough to make bread and light the grill.
Gretel,
Called the witch shortly after.
get in the grill and see if it's hot.
Gretel had an idea, but she decided to play dumb.
But I don't know how. Stupid! Look at me. This is how to get into the grill and...
The witch didn't have time to finish her sentence because Gretel pushed her into the grill and closed the door. Gretel immediately frees her brother. While exploring the witch's house, Hansel and Gretel find chests filled with pearl and precious stone.
This is better than a rock,
said Hansel with a laugh. He immediately scooped it up and filled his pocket. Gretel does the same thing, and they immediately left. They walked closer to the edge of the forest and found their way back home happily. Their father greeted them with tears of joy because he had lost the will to live since their departure. Their evil mother is gone. They have lived well and happily since then.
Well, kids, how the story today? It's a bit stressful, right? Promise me you will not trust stranger even if they treat you well, or even promises to give you candy or chocolate. Always near your parent, okay? Well, good night. Bye bye.